Hey everyone, welcome back to the Picture Show. This is our last show of the semester, and we're doing things a bit different today. We're talking about upcoming summer movies. So not really anything to review, but we're going to be comparing what we think is going to be the top 5 box office hits of this summer. Today I have my panel of guests. We have some regulars that have been on the show before. Hello. That's why I brought them on. We got Danny Foots.
Hello.
And we got Sarah Patterson.
Hi, guys.
Would y'all say that y'all are aficionados in movies at this point?
As many times as I've been on this show, I would take a good bet on it.
Yeah. Between this and just how many movies I watch on my own, absolutely.
So are y'all excited for what's coming up this summer?
I'm finally glad that I will always have something to see, like, constantly. There's so many good movies coming out.
This summer seems like each month we'll have at least one, if not 2 or 3, that are going to be worth going to see. Last summer, we did not get that at all. Last summer was a huge... If Get Out hadn't came out when it did, I don't know what people would have talked about.
And last summer was very boring. Very boring.
Yeah.
And that's like, so like I think most studios have kind of perked up as like, we got to start putting stuff out. Or
blockbusters seemed to disappear, it seemed like, for the summer when the majority of people are able to go see the movies.
I think Christmas movies became more popular, like stuff around the holidays, stuff like that.
Which makes no sense to me. I've never gone to a movie on Christmas Day.
I can't.
Ever.
So what we've done today is a little bit different, guys. We have compiled a list of what we are thinking our top 5 top boxes office hits are going to be this summer. And they're a little bit different, a little bit same. Some of us kind of went through a different route than other people. And we're just going to talk about it and see what we have to say and just kind of give our 2 cents on what the movie is. Since I'm the host of the show and I make all the rules here, I'm going to start off number 1 and saying my number 1 is Avengers Infinity Wars. And while expected Avengers Infinity Wars to be the number 1 across the board, surprisingly that's not the case.
No.
Sarah, you have it at number 3. You don't even have it on your list at all. Why is that, Danny?
No, well, it comes out today, and I would not consider today summer or summer movies. Hollywood summer versus real summer is, almost 50 days apart, but I don't know. Even if I go see it this weekend, I'm not going to say I saw it in the summer of 2018. I mean, it's just not a summer movie. Summer movie to me is post-school before the next fall semester starts. So whatever falls in between the gap between next week and when we start back in August.
And I'll give you that because, it's summer movies versus Hollywood summer movies and actual summer. But Sarah, you have it at number 3. Do you honestly think that Avengers Infinity Wars is going to land third on
When you told me what
this?
we were doing, I just was like, ooh, I'm going to list what I'm most excited to see, and I just kind of messed up a little bit. So honestly, I think Avengers Infinity Wars would be number 2, and Incredibles would actually be number 3.
So you still wouldn't even, like, if you had, even if we revised this list, you wouldn't put it as number 1.
I think there's more interest in Deadpool. There just is.
Close. It's Deadpool and Cable, and you still got the X-Men element. I feel like they would probably be like right behind each other in the box office.
This is like, 10, 12 years of build-up for this movie?
Yeah, but, the same can be said about Infinity Wars.
That's what I'm saying, Infinity Wars. That's what I'm talking about.
Deadpool, though, has been... So we were hinted the Ryan Reynolds Deadpool initially in I think it was Fox who made those ones. We were supposed to be given that movie, and it was just glossed over for 5-6 more X-Men movies and then just never mentioned again. So for him to reprise that, when it came out, nobody thought it was going to be that successful. Like, it
was it for the dark horse.
I mean, it turned over, and I mean, you could walk around this school, people wear more Deadpool stuff. I mean, we see it more often than maybe anything else that's on any of our lists. Just because, I think he's lovable because he's more of an anti-hero than a hero. And his movies are way more on the adult scale than any of the other Marvel movies in the MCU. And they're bringing in favorite comic book characters, villains like Cable. And Josh Brolin is a great actor, so I think that'll do well.
I feel like Infinity Wars is going to be really good, and I'm really excited to see it. But I'm also worried about the execution because I realize they've put all this build-up, so many movies into build-up, and you have to include all these characters in a movie. And I'm just wondering if the execution is going to make me be like, wow, I enjoyed this movie more than Deadpool. And I feel like I won't. I feel like I'll enjoy Deadpool more just because they're going to be trying to fit a lot in there.
I mean, and you have to think, some of the Marvel movies that have led into Infinity Wars were awful. Thor 3 was terrible.
Thor 3?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Thor 2.
I'm fighting on the set right now.
Thor 2 has Natalie Portman on screen for 2/3 more than Chris Hemsworth, and it's his movie. That doesn't make sense. And I don't know. Some of them are bad. And Iron Man 3, we probably could have done without ultimately. So to combine all these people together and to hope it's as good as, they are thinking that because Black Panther was so great, that is going to have a carryover for Infinity War, and I don't think it is. Not like Deadpool. I think the anticipation for Deadpool, even if you look online, is far greater than for Infinity Wars.
Right,
and they are still riding the Black Panther coattails right now.
All right, I'll give y'all that. We'll move on to our number 2. Y'all's number 2 are the same. Y'all have Incredibles 2.
Yes.
I have Deadpool 2 as number 2. Why do y'all have Incredibles as y'all's number 2?
Oh, me first.
Okay, you'll go first.
Okay. Incredibles 2, right? So check it out. When Incredibles, the first one came out, we were all at the prime Pixar watching age. Like
all of us on this set.
Right here. Like all of us 20-something-year-olds right now were there. And now they're coming out with number 2. There's so many of us who have been anticipating this for years. I feel like it's going to do really, really well because not only us as 20-something-year-olds, but also people our age who already have kids are going to take their children and to see it because that's what they watched not too long ago.
That's where I think its success is going to come from. The box office prices are going to not reflect the fandom behind it because parents taking children is always that +1, so they're going to get that big time. And like she said, people who watched it as kids and now have kids of their own are, we've been able to watch The Incredibles for years now. So to get this second one to it, I think that fandom behind it is why it's going to be so successful. I almost put it above Deadpool, but I just think Deadpool is still a flavor of the month as far as people are concerned because we got the horrible version of him in the X-Men franchise, and then the reboot was just stellar.
Yeah. I mean, I have it at number 3 only because I'm worried that, as you said, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Have the fans grown up and because there is that nostalgia factor for it, but you can't say that for the full scope of everyone who watched it. So you're going to have people who've grown up I don't really need to see that, versus kids who are I haven't seen the first one, or
right.
stuff like that. So
I have no interest in seeing it. I just think it'll be successful.
Yeah. Has it been too long is my only concern. That's why I have it number 3 under Deadpool.
Well, even so, even if it's been a while, parents are always looking to take their kids to a movie. And no matter what it is, I feel like a kid's movie is going to be pretty successful because that's what parents do. They take their kids to whatever movie's in the theater at the time, whether it's the second one or not. Most of the time, kids, especially if they're young, won't know the difference.
And I can't say it's been too long because 27 years between the remake for it, and it was very successful despite me thinking it was awful. But I think The Incredibles will fall into that same category of, and this is kind of more of a bonding movie between families because parents who were kids and saw the first one now can incorporate their children into this. And
the franchise is going to get a boost too because all the parents whose kids haven't seen it, they're going to go out and they're either going to download, stream it, buy it Amazon Prime, get a DVD, and they're going to make their kids watch the first one. So even if it's not just Incredibles 2, I feel like the original series is going to get a bump in revenue, and we're going to start seeing the franchise pick up again.
And Disney's streaming app is
toys.
About to take over all of these other movies that Marvel is going to do. So for The Incredibles to stand out on its own, be its own thing, I think it will be successful because Disney has lumped a lot of its stuff together in one basket, and I think The Incredibles is its own thing, separate from all of that in the way that the interest for it is not just because of the company that makes it.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we already basically we talked about most of our top 3 now. Let's give a little bit of spotlight to Deadpool 2 because that is my number 2 seed. That's your number 1 seed, and that is your number 1 seed as well. And so, y'all are just excited to see Deadpool 2?
When I saw the trailer for Deadpool 2, I was just like, this is how a trailer is supposed to be done.
Yeah, and Josh Brolin is one of my favorite actors of all time. I mean, I've been watching him since I was a kid. He's the older brother in Goonies. I mean, from then to now, he's sustained a great career. Other than Jonah Hex, I don't have a movie that I hate him in. I mean, he was great in No Country for Old Men, and he plays a good... I mean, if you've read the comics and you see Cable, he embodies Cable the same way that Hugh Jackman embodied Wolverine. I mean, it's a spot-on cast for that role. And, I mean, you just said Terry Crews was in it as well, which, doesn't make me more anticipated, to see it. But Terry Crews doesn't do bad stuff. I mean, he's great comedic relief in everything he's in. And I think he'll be, whatever they have him in the movie for, it'll be kind of just a good plus to it. But I find it really hard to think that a lot of these are going to outdo Deadpool. I just do.
Yeah. Well, then, before we move on to more and more, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go talk about what's new to Netflix and DVD with Riley Wilkerson. Come back and see what we have for the rest of our list.
Hey guys, I'm Riley Wilkerson, and thanks for tuning in to Netflix and DVD Picks of the Week. New to Netflix is 7 Pounds with Will Smith and Rosario Dawson. A man with a faithful secret embarks on a journey of redemption by enriching the lives of 7 strangers. Next up is Lakeview Terrence with Samuel L. Jackson and Patrick Wilson. An LAPD officer will stop at nothing to force an interracial couple that just moved in next door. Next up is Orbital 9 with Clara Lago and Alex Gonzalez. A woman who has been alone on a spaceship her entire life becomes obsessed with an engineer after he shows her that things are not what they seem. New to DVD is Hostiles with Christian Bale and Scott Shepard. In 1892, a legendary Army captain agrees to escort a Cheyenne chief and his family through dangerous American territory. Next up is The Strange Ones with Alex Pettyfer and James Jackson. A dark and complex web of secrets is exposed to 2 men traveling across the remote lands of the United States. Last up is The Commuter with Liam Neeson. An ex-cop gets caught up in a criminal conspiracy during his daily commute home. All right, that was what we have for you. I'm Riley Wilkerson. Back to you, Alex.
And we're back talking about our top 5 list for this summer's box office movie hits. I said that we talked about our top 3, but someone here wants to be a contrarian and has number 3 be a bit something different. What do you have for your number 3 there, Daniel?
Jurassic World 2, The Fallen Kingdom. So the Jurassic Park in the 90s was one of the most successful franchises. They let it be dormant, I thought, for way too long. So when when it got rebooted, I was interested to see it because I loved it as a kid, and I think that also is kind of the nostalgia thing we were talking about with The Incredibles. I'm not a huge fan of Chris Pratt. I never have been. But that movie I think it was great. I don't think this one will hold a candle to it, but I think it'll be successful because it's kind of the end-all for Jurassic Park as we know it.
We really trust his opinion. He just says he's not a fan of Chris
I
Pratt.
know, right? I
No,
just think
I do not like
everything.
Chris Pratt.
I think everything Danny just said should just be null and void because
Guardians of the Galaxy, awful.
What? No,
Awful.
dude, Guardians of the Galaxy was one of the best Marvel movies that have came out.
You're crazy.
No.
Both of them were trash. Kurt Russell in the second one is
Okay.
trash. The soundtracks are great. I'll give them that.
The second one was not that great, but the first one was very
Trash.
No.
Solid trash.
We can agree to disagree all day long.
I only watched it because I needed to know about the Purple Infinity Stone as it pertained to the rest of the MCU, but I've not seen it more than twice.
Well, that's probably why you don't like it.
No, because I don't like Chris Pratt.
And also, to be fair, you're the only one with Jurassic World on your list.
Yeah.
So.
I am.
All right.
But it was successful enough for them. I didn't think they would do another one, so that was kind of a shock. But there was enough interest drummed in it, and I think they're going to bring Jeff Goldblum back just for the sake of the trailers to lure people, but I don't think he'll be a very big character within this one like he was in the original franchise.
Yeah, I bet they're going to have him in for 1, maybe 2 scenes.
Yeah, I imagine he dies almost immediately.
Or not even dies, just
Or
like,
just-
he's just not there. He's just there to be like, hey, don't mess with the dinosaurs, bye. And just
Yeah, exactly.
So then, if that's number 3, let's move on to your number 4.
Equalizer 2.
Why do you have that as number 4?
Well, compared to what else is coming out this summer, people are drawn to Denzel Washington no matter what it is.
I think I've heard a lot of just Denzel Washington's a good actor.
Right, and he is throughout his career done a ton of different roles, and none of them are bad. Can you think of a bad Denzel Washington movie? I can't. He always puts out good stuff, and this is the first movie he's ever done a sequel to. He's only done single franchise movies, so for him to jump on board to do a sequel for the first time in his career at this stage in his career, that kind of draws me in too more, because I trust the fact that he is doing this because the back end work, the script and all of that were good enough for him to say, fine, I'll break this trend that I've had my whole career and go ahead and do this second one. Plus, the first one, solid. I mean, it's one of the best action movies.
True, like that. The whole fight scene in Home Depot is probably
it's
one of the most memorable
insane.
things I know of.
That movie and John Wick, like, they are neck and neck for just being, like, staples for their respective actors. And the first Equalizer is just nuts.
So you're saying that because he's doing this as his first sequel, it lends a bunch of good faith to this movie. It's like this must be good if he's willing to do this.
Yeah, because there was talk about doing a second Training Day, and Training Day is what won him his Oscar, and he shot it down. So for him to not shoot this down, that you got me. I'm gonna go see it now.
Yeah.
I want to see what you think was so great.
Has he done anything recently? Or do you think he's doing this because he needs to?
Oh, I definitely don't think he needs to. Not for a second. I mean, no. Recently,
The only reason that I didn't put it on my list and I just brought that up is because I feel like it might get overpowered by some of the other movies that are coming out this summer.
it might, but I think he doesn't take movies, like, you're right, the things he hasn't been in over the last 2 years are because there's been so many other big movies. He does not play his cards like that. He doesn't release a movie or have a movie released that he's in that has really strong competition. By the time this comes out, all of the other movies on our list will have been faded out, or it's not his market at all. The teenagers going to see the MCU movies are not interested in the Equalizer, and it's
I saw Equalizer when I was a teenager.
Well, I'm saying, but the interest in it primarily, that's not the demographic like the other movies are. Plus, he's releasing it at a time, unlike some of these that are coming out right now, he's releasing it during the true summer when there is more chances of people going to go see it. And I think that's just his smart marketing, and he's always done that with his movies.
Okay. We'll move on to your number 4. What do you have as number 4, Sarah?
Number 4 for me is Han Solo, A Star Wars Story. Now, even though I was like meh about Rogue One until the very, very end, and I feel like this might have the same kind of feel, but I feel like it'll be a little closer to home because it's a backstory on a character we already know and love compared to where Rogue One, when you go in, you're like, what is going on? Who are these people? I'm also really excited about the cast for this movie because we have Donald Glover and Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, and I'm just really excited to see them in more movies and on TV more in general.
I mean, I have Han Solo as my number 5 seed. You don't even have it on your list, Daniel.
Nope. I mean, I know Star Wars will... I don't think this will have the same impact as the franchise does. Me, personally, what I love about Star Wars has nothing to do with this side of it. I'm all about the dark side characters. So I was drawn far more to the movies that were around that because that was really the core of what was wrong and good with Star Wars. We had a lot of backstory on all of the heroes, not so much from like the gap of what the dark side was besides Darth Vader until recently. And so I don't care enough about Han Solo to go see a movie about it. Like, I just don't. I would go rather see something about Anakin again.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough, because I have it on 5 just because it has the Star Wars name.
Right.
Star Wars name is going to bring it up there in the top 5 at least, so that's really the only reason to have it on there.
Yeah.
To be fair, my whole list has kind of been sold out to Marvel and Disney because my number 4 is
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
To be fair, people have been waiting for a movie like this in the Star Wars franchise for a long time, and they've been debating whether it would have been a Han Solo movie or like a Boba Fett movie or something like that.
I would love to see a Boba Fett.
I think
See,
a lot
and there's
more people would like to see
there's a
Boba Fett.
lot of
Love
people
that.
who would love to see a Han Solo movie, and this is only the beginning. That's probably a build up to more movies for like Boba
Yeah,
Fett.
and with Disney taking over all of the stuff, they'll do everything that the fans want.
I can
Yeah.
tell
they
you
don't
right now, if a
disappoint.
Boba Fett movie was made,
Oh, that's a wrap. That's a wrap on being the most seen Star Wars movie, probably. Because
Yeah.
he's like the most intriguing character that we know the absolute least about. Yeah. He's just the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, but we don't know anything else.
Yeah.
well, then like back to what I was saying, like
I have number 4 as Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I
Why?
know you're not
Why?
particularly happy about that. None of y'all have it on your list. I'm the only one that has it on my list. It is Marvel and Disney, and it is a fun film. I feel like enough people are going to be interested in seeing this
I don't.
with the Marvel tag and the Disney tag, and it'll be like entertained by. Because the first one was very entertaining. As much as you say it wasn't, it was
gimmicky and childish.
I mean, they got to make some for different crowds, I guess.
I mean,
it's not
I mean,
on
of
my
all
list,
of the
but I think it'll
MCU
be
movies,
enjoyable.
nobody ever says my favorite MCU movie was Ant-Man.
I say one of my favorites was.
It's like the 10th one, though.
How serious can it be when you have like a giant Hello Kitty Pez dispenser being thrown at guys on motorcycles?
Well, they utilized him really well at the airport fight scene. That, to me, you could have taken that and ran with it in the movie. They made it comedic, and Paul Rudd is awful. He's a terrible actor. He's a great writer. He has written some of the best scripts, but his acting is trash. And then Michael Pena and T.I., where it's like, why is T.I. in the Marvel universe at all? And Michael Pena was just like, I'll do it. Like, no thanks.
I still say I'm very interesting, and I feel like
I'd rather see Kate Beckinsale as the Wasp. That interests me, but not Paul Rudd again.
All right, well, we're going to continue on with our number 5 after we take a look at what's coming out this Friday. I guess pretty much everybody can take a guess at what our Friday flick pick will be.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
So check it out with Terry Hawkins. Come back and see what we have to say about our number 5s.
Hey, what's going on, movie flickies? I'm your host, Terry Hawkins, and welcome back to another Friday Flick Picks. Now it's time for us to suit up and assemble on this movie pick. That's right, I'll talk about Avengers: Infinity War. Marvel's Avengers took the world by storm in 2012, and the franchise continues hyping fans onto this day and the days to come. Let's check out a trailer.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
The end is near. When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist. Perfectly balanced. As all things should be. I hope they remember you.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
Now that was a super trailer. All right, this has been Friday Flick Picks. I'm Terry Hawkins. Back to the picture show.
Don't give him that.
All right, that was your look at our Friday flick pick. I know I'll be watching that tonight. We're going to talk about our quick number 5s. What do you have for your number 5 there, Danny?
Slenderman.
Why do you have Slenderman as your number 5?
Because the concept of Slenderman to be a movie has been kind of circling around in Hollywood for a while. They seem to have like strayed away from it because of the issues that like kids, and there was a couple controversies that people had happen, and they blamed Slenderman for it, so he kind of got a bad rap. It's kind of all faded out.
He is a murderous creepypasta.
Yeah, exactly. But I think because we don't have anything else before this, that there's a genuine interest in a villain like this that's so simple but absolutely scary. And I think that fares well. And there's no other horror movies coming out this summer that are, to me, worth watching like this will be.
Hereditary.
Yeah.
From A24.
I'm definitely not going to jump on that.
Okay.
I mean, it looks decent, but it doesn't look as good as Slenderman.
My only concern is that this might be a bit too cheesy.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, it's easily able to be ruined. I'm hoping they don't, because I don't want this to be shock value scares. I just want it to be scary.
Yeah. What about your number 5 there?
My number 5 is Christopher Robin. But it's not necessarily because I'm super excited about seeing it, although I will go see it. I just think it's going to have a similar effect as like The Incredibles. Winnie the Pooh is even more iconic than The Incredibles will ever hope to be. Like, Winnie the Pooh has been on everything. Pajamas, bedding, cups, like toys galore. Like, it's a staple from a long time. It's been around for a long time. So I feel like it's just going to draw in a crowd of all ages. And like I said, it's going to be them kid tickets that are going to get it, because The Incredibles might not get the attention that it needs because it's number 2 and maybe there was that long gap, but Winnie the Pooh is always relevant no matter what. It's like timeless.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm interested in seeing it just because like it seems like a wholesome, feel-good film.
Right.
And you said you have an honorable mention that you want to talk about real quick.
Yeah, sorry to bother you. I think because that there's going to be an amount of racial tension based on that movie, it's going to kind of ride the same success as Get Out did, and it's the same actor from Get Out. It's interesting because nothing else is like this. In Hollywood, we don't get original stories very much anymore. This is original. I think it'll do well just for the time frame that it's coming out in.
I'm for sure interested because I saw it, forgot about it. You mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I did want to see that movie.
Yeah,
actually.
It looks really good.
But that's all the time we have for you today, guys. This was our last picture of the semester. We hope you tune in and see what if we were right on our summer movie picks. Tune in next year, and hope we can see you again.